During seasons of spiritual warfare, psalms of protection serve as powerful reminders of God's presence, power, and ability to shield His people. These psalms can be used as declarations, prayers, and affirmations of God's sovereignty over every challenge and attack. Here are key highlights from Psalms 18, 23, and 91, which are especially effective in times of warfare prayer. Psalm 18, declaring God as your deliverer. This psalm is a victory song for times of battle. It acknowledges God as our rock, fortress, and deliverer, who empowers us to overcome adversity. It speaks of God's overwhelming might to shake the earth, scatter enemies, and rescue His people when they call upon Him. Warfare application. Declare this psalm when you feel surrounded by challenges or opposition. It reminds you that God's strength is made available to fight on your behalf. Psalm 23, trusting God's guidance in troubled times. Psalm 23 brings a deep sense of peace and assurance. It portrays God as a shepherd who leads and protects, even in the valley of the shadow of death. This psalm emphasizes that no evil can overcome those who trust in God, and it proclaims His provision even in the presence of enemies. Warfare application. Use this psalm as a prayer of confidence and trust. It reminds you that God's presence is with you, His guidance is sure, and His blessings are abundant, even in the face of spiritual battles. Psalm 91, standing under God's protection. This psalm is a proclamation of God's powerful protection over His children. It describes God as a refuge and fortress, shielding His people from dangers such as attacks, diseases, and pestilence. It also speaks of angelic protection and God's promise to deliver those who love Him. Warfare application. Pray this psalm as a declaration of your safety in God. It builds faith in His ability to protect you from every form of harm, both seen and unseen. Psalm from the King James Version, KJV. Psalm 18 verse 1, I will love Thee, O Lord, my strength. Verse 2, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. Verse 3, I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, so shall I be saved from mine enemies. Verse 4, the sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. Verse 5, the sorrows of hell compassed me about, the snares of death prevented me. Verse 6, in my distress I called upon the Lord, and cried unto my God. He heard my voice out of His temple, and my cry came before Him, even into His ears. Verse 7. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken, because He was wroth. Verse 8. There went up a smoke out of His nostrils, and fire out of His mouth devoured, coals were kindled by it. Verse 9. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under His feet. Verse 10. And He rode upon a cherub, and did fly. Yea, He did fly upon the wings of the wind. Verse 11. He made darkness His secret place. His pavilion round about Him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. Verse 12. At the brightness that was before Him, His thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Verse 13. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the highest gave His voice, hailstones and coals of fire. Verse 14. Yea, He sent out His arrows, and scattered them, and He shot out lightnings, and discomfited them. Verse 15. Then the channels of waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered at Thy rebuke, O Lord, at the blast of the breath of Thy nostrils. Verse 16. He sent from above, He took me, He drew me out of many waters. Verse 17. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. Verse 18. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay. Verse 19. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. Verse 20. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands hath he recompensed me. Verse 21. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. Verse 22. For all his judgments were before me, and I did not put away his statutes from me. Verse 23. I was also upright before him, and I kept myself from mine iniquity. Verse 24. Therefore hath the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his eyesight. Verse 25. With the merciful thou wilt show thyself merciful, with an upright man thou wilt show thyself upright. Verse 26. With the pure thou wilt show thyself pure, and with the froward thou wilt show thyself froward. Verse 27. For thou wilt save the afflicted people, but wilt bring down high looks. Verse 28. For thou wilt light my candle, the Lord my God will enlighten my darkness. Verse 29. For by thee I have run through a troop, and by my God have I leaped over a wall. Verse 30. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all those that trust in him. Verse 31. For who is God save the Lord, or who is a rock save our God? Verse 32. It is God that girdeth me with strength, and maketh my way perfect. Verse 33. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and setteth me upon my high places. Verse 34. He teacheth my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by mine arms. Verse 35. Thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, and thy right hand hath holden me up, and thy gentleness hath made me great. Verse 36. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. Verse 37. I have pursued mine enemies, and overtaken them. Neither did I turn again till they were consumed. Verse 38. I have wounded them that they were not able to rise. They are fallen under my feet. Verse 39. For thou hast girded me with strength unto the battle. Thou hast subdued under me those that rose up against me. Verse 40. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. Verse 41. They cried, but there was none to save them, even unto the Lord, but he answered them not. Verse 42. Then did I beat them small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. Verse 43, Psalm 18. God is our protector and deliverer. This psalm is a song of gratitude from David, praising God for delivering him from his enemies. David describes God as his rock, fortress, and shield. He recalls the many times God rescued him from dangerous situations and gave him strength to overcome his foes. The psalm illustrates God's power over nature, as he shakes the earth, sends thunder, and scatters enemies to protect his people. It emphasizes that God rewards the faithful and defends those who trust in him. Key message: God is a reliable protector, our strength in tough times, and our rescuer from overwhelming challenges. Psalm 23, KJV, verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Verse 2. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Verse 3. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Verse 5. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Verse 6. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 23. God is our shepherd. This well-loved psalm compares God to a caring shepherd who provides for, guides, and protects his flock. The imagery of green pastures and still waters represents peace and provision, while the valley of the shadow of death represents life's hardships. Even in the darkest times, God's presence offers comfort and safety. The psalm ends with a promise of goodness and mercy following the believer all their life and dwelling with God forever. Key message: God provides for all our needs, guides us through life, and brings us peace and security even in adversity. Psalm 91, KJV, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Verse 2. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Verse 3. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. Verse 4. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. Verse 6. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Verse 7. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Verse 8. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Verse 9. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Verse 10. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. Verse 12. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Verse 13. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Verse 14. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. Verse 15. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. Verse 16. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Psalm 91. God's protection and security. This psalm highlights the protection that comes from dwelling in God's presence. It describes God as a refuge and fortress, shielding His people from dangers such as disease, disasters, and attacks. Angels are depicted as guardians who watch over the faithful. The psalm assures us that when we love and trust God, He delivers us, answers our prayers, and satisfies us with long life and salvation. Key message: those who trust in God are under His constant protection and can find peace knowing He is their refuge. Key themes for warfare. Prayer, God's might. He fights battles on behalf of His people and delivers them from harm. God's presence. You are never alone. God walks with you in every trial. Divine protection. God shields you from harm, provides angelic assistance, and secures victory. Victory through faith. Trusting in God's promises is the key to standing firm in spiritual warfare. Why use Psalms in warfare prayer? Strengthens your faith, reminds you of God's power and faithfulness, declares God's promises, speaking God's word releases His authority over your situation, brings peace, calms your spirit, and focuses your mind on God's sovereignty, shifts the battle, invites God to take control, and ensures victory in His name. In your season of prayer, declare these psalms aloud, personalize them, and meditate on their truths. God is your shield, your defender, and your victory.
Hi, friends. If you enjoyed this story and feel inspired, there's so much more where that came from. On this channel, we dive into uplifting, faith-filled content to encourage you in your journey. If you're looking for more inspiring Bible stories, lessons of hope, and moments to strengthen your faith, hit that subscribe button now. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss an update. Together, let's grow in faith and share God's love with the world. See you in the next video.